Thanks for tuning into this episode of Walden Art, and today I will be doing an art review and critique for one of my patrons. So I have a Patreon page where aspiring artists or just artists that wants to do artwork, who wants me to critique the work, they will subscribe to my Patreon page because I have different tiers for mentorship and assignments and homework, or even different levels where you can just look at some of the posting I do or tips and tricks that you can learn from me. I usually post a lot of stuff over on my Patreon where I don't post on anywhere else on my social media, so check that out. Lots of exclusive images that you don't see because I'm not supposed to show it off until after the work is published. So check that out. That page is patreon.com/waldenwongart. And if you just stumble on this page and you know and if you stumbled upon this page and you don't know who I am, my name is Walden Wong. I'm a comic book artist from Marvel and DC Comics. You can learn more about me on my website. My website is waldenwongart.com. Over there you can see a lot of different things like gallery, images, artwork, and videos, and blogger, and everything else that all about me that you can learn, especially all the other social medias I have. So check that out. So today I'm going to review one of my patrons. His name is Milt, and he sent over 2 images. So he penciled it. Not only did he pencil it, he also inked it. So one image is of Green Goblin or Hobgoblin, either or. I think it's Hobgoblin or maybe Green Goblin. If you know, comment down below, let me know, because I'm looking at this image in black and white. Because Green Goblin and Hobgoblin kind of looks the same to me. And then the other character is a Scarecrow that he penciled and inked. So I'm going to review his pencils, and then later on I'm going to review his inks, and then we're going to review those separately. So without further ado, here we go. Alright, so this is Milt's artwork. He's one of my patrons that subscribes to my channel, and he's a very nice guy. He's been my patron for quite some time now, and I've actually watched him grow. His drawing has improved so much lately. It's really impressive. So this is his drawing of Scarecrow. Okay, a very basic drawing. He didn't go in there and start drawing all the details. Sometimes when you're inking something and then you're going in there and then just drawing the layouts and everything, you can always go back later and then add the details himself, which is what Milt did over here. So that's really good. I like what you did over here, Milt. All these like the smudge, the dark smudge, that's a nice touch over here. So Milt, I spoke to Milt before on a video conference, and he told me that he just loves artwork. He just wants to do artwork. He doesn't really have he doesn't really want to be a comic book artist or anything like that, but he loves the medium. He loves the artwork, and then he joins my Patreon just so he can critique, so he can get better at it. And I do see him grow a lot. The way he's penciling is improving a lot. The way he's inking is also improved drastically. So congratulations, Bill. Keep up the good work. So I'm going to look at the pencils first and then just make a few notations that areas that I would do differently, and then also to make you a little bit better. I'm going to unlock this stage, and then I'm going to use red to make some markings so you can see some of the areas that I'm gonna talk about. So with the pencil stage, I will make this hand a little bit bigger, because you see how the size of this hand is so big, which is in proportion to the face, which is good. So this hand here, it looks like it's a little bit smaller. So I would just take this hand and just enlarge that hand a little bit. Okay, when we talk about the inking stage, we won't talk about the proportions of everything. I'll talk about the proportions here with the pencils. Okay, so just a little bit bigger, just so it fits the other hand more proportion. So I'm going to reduce it back so you can see how it looks like now. It's a little bit too small, especially if the arm is closer to the viewer. So I would actually go in here and then make that finger a little bit more. I know you inked it, but this is for the future in case you draw like another pose like this. Now you have this character that's angled. Okay, so if it's angled, we do see a little bit more of the back of the Scarecrow. So I would actually go here, this line, go here, and just angle out a little bit more. Okay, just to give it more form. Okay, and then the feet is a little bit off. Let me see how you pencil the feet. Okay, here's the feet. So the feet, I would actually draw the feet more angled this way. Okay, here, and then this feet, I would have that feet go here. Just shape it a little bit more that way. So here's the bottom of the sole, and here's the feet. Okay, so you see the back of this a little bit. Okay, this line here, I wouldn't draw that much of this line. I would just erase that part. So I'm going to use red and just kind of mark out the area that I would need. Okay, good job on here. Yeah, it's still good. Pretty good. Let me look at the inks, because I know you actually went in there and pencil more during the inking stage. The hat over here is pretty good. When it came to the inking part, some of the curves are a little bit off. So I like the pencil on some of the areas. Okay, so now I'm going to move on and talk about the inks right now. Okay, good job on the penciling. There's hardly much that I need to critique. Now with the inking, we're going to take a look. Okay, so there's techniques that Milt's done that I've never done before, which I think is kind of cool that I've never done before. Okay, so right over here, these lines, which Milt's pencil inked in here, I think is kind of cool. I've never done it before. It looks like he used a brush. He would just use a brush, make a mark, and he would just push it in and then taper it off, which is pretty neat. I've never seen it in any comic book form before, but that's kind of good. And also how it's nicely spaced over here. I think that looks really cool. Okay, now the spacing here, these taper lines, he's done it really well. If you look at some of my art review critiques, one of the things that I look for, that I look at the most when people are doing artwork is the way they taper lines, where it has to be very thin, where it starts very thin and it goes thick. Look how sharp these lines are over here. Look how sharp those lines are. Not only that, look at the negative space. Look at the white tips of these. They're very sharp. This is how you're supposed to taper lines when you go from thin to thick or from the black area to a light area. That's how you taper lines. Now, one thing I want you to focus on, Milt, is to keep those consistent. So you see how thick this line is, and all of a sudden you can hear this one's a little bit thinner. You want to keep those all kind of the same thickness all the way across. But otherwise, the way you start the sharpness and the way you end it with the closing of the tip, that's done really, really well. So keep doing that. So some of these, same thing. So you do have some of these tips going in. Very nice, very nice, very nice. That's very good. Some of these, yeah, your negative space tapering is very good. Keep that up, okay? But I do want you to make sure the taper of each object is consistent. Now, when I say that, it's like if you look at this cluster of taper, this is much thicker than this cluster of taper. See that? It looks like it's two different styles of tapering. Okay, so if you're trying to get like a gradual thick to thin, let me get a smaller brush. Let me do that again. If you go from thin to thick, you want them to gradually transition from thin to thick. Or you go in there and make them all kind of the same thickness. So that's one thing that I want you to focus on the taper lines, okay? Okay, your line weights, okay, this is great. This line weight over here is thick and it goes thin. I like the line weights over here. There's a little bit of jaggediness over here, so I would just erase that part. I'm gonna make a notation here, okay? And let me look at some of the others. Okay, so you see the knee over here? Now the knee is closer to the viewer, so I would make this really thick right up here. Okay, I'm gonna zoom back out so we can see this. I would make this really thick, and then add that line right here so we can see that that leg is like going in the background. So some of these straws over here, let me get this out of the way. Some of the straw over here, I want you to beef up these lines and then continue beefing up those lines all the way across. We want those lines to be popping forward to in the front. Okay, same thing over here. Okay, I like the stippling. This task, which you've done, these long lines, I want you to ink those lines a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. The faster you ink those lines, the smoother it is. Right now, it's pretty good. It's smooth. There's a little bit of like wobbliness, which is like very minor, but I want you to go in there and do like a faster stroke so it'll be even nicer, okay? I like how you did these shadows with a big brush. You just went in there and you were very confident and just inking that line like very confidently. Now, because there's some heavy shadows here, what I would do is I would go in there and beef up some of these lines. So that area that I circled over here earlier, I would just go here and make this thicker. I know the light source is coming from that direction, but because you have, let me zoom back out, because you have so much blacks over here, it's okay to kind of make this a little bit thicker over here. And I'm gonna make this shoulder pop out a little bit more. Okay, you just make that a little thicker here, and also under here a little bit thicker. But these taper lines are pretty good. I like the stippling line. The stipple. Stipple is where artists are just doing dots to create a tone. I know these are a lot of work. If you had the time, I would actually go in there and staple more these dots. Like, let me use the brush. I would staple more in between here, so we don't see that line kind of like bleed in there. But stippling does take a lot of time. You don't really see that a lot in comic book publishing because it just takes a lot of time. A lot of artists will just like either cross hatch a line or cross hatch. So I do like that you're taking that extra effort to do the stipple effect. So some of the underneath the straws over here, I would stipple more. The reason I would stipple more is because the straw is casting a shadow underneath. So this is just another way to make your art have more depth. So more stippling down here, some more stippling underneath here because the sun is coming from the sky. And then here, some of the straws over here, go in there and just mix some of this, some triangle shadows in here. So it looks like it's seeping in. So some shadows over here, like that. Okay, just some random ones over here. Okay. Let me take a look at the rest of them. Nice job on the waving. Like, okay, good job on some of the line waves. I see that you're going from thick to thin to thick to thin. That's very nicely done. I wonder how you did the smudging. Was that with a finger and thumbprint? Which is so. This is actually a good way to think out of the box. Inking doesn't have to be drawn directly with a brush or with quill. You can always use a sponge, or some artists actually use their thumb, and they'll put ink on the thumb and they use their fingerprint on it, or they'll just do some kind of smudge effect. So this is really nice, having that effect on the bottom here. Let me see. So the only thing that's off for me is just the foot. Okay, the foot is a little bit off. Some of these taper lines here. Okay, look how beautiful these taper lines are on the head. Okay, on the hat too. Okay, this one can be a little bit closer. Okay, but when you go to the feet here, these are so big over here. I want you to make those a little bit smaller. Okay, so you can fix that. It's not all lost here. You already have some line. Just go in there and have a little few more, add a few more in between, like that, and just close them up. So that way you have more little triangles on this side. Because this foot over here has some white, what you can do is use white ink or gel pen, go in here and add some white on this side. Just some little bit of white, just so both sides is consistent. Okay, and some of these lines, the background lines, these black background lines over here, it would look nice if it went underneath. So just have some of those lines go underneath here. I know you did that really quickly, and this wasn't really that important. It's just to make you a better artist. So far, it's pretty good. And then there's that. What is this? A cobra? Like a cobra over here. Okay. And we won't talk about that. It's just like the background over here. The wings, actually this wing can be a little bit longer just to be consistent with this side. Okay, so very good with the scarecrow. That's the scarecrow with the pencils. Let's take a look at the pencils. Here's the pencils. Okay. Oh yeah, that's a cobra. And then here is the inks. Okay. Now the next one is very good. It's the Green Goblin or Hobgoblin. I thought this was drawn really well. Here is the pencils. Okay, the cape. So Milt is someone who would ink his own work, and he would just come back later after penciling everything down, and then he would come back later and then finish everything off in detail. This is a really good sketch for himself to indicate his inks later. And a lot of times when I'm inking myself, I don't draw in everything. I would actually sketch something in, and I would do the inking, and then I would ink some of the lines there. If I'm drawing something for someone else to ink, then I would draw really tightly and put everything in there. But if I'm drawing something for myself to ink, I know what I'm going to add in later. So this is what Milt's doing. So that's very good. So let's take a look at the pencils. So so far so good with the pencils. The anatomy is pretty good. The glider looks pretty good. I think. Let me see if I recall. If I remember, I think the glider was. Let me get my pencil. Maybe like this a little bit. Okay, because right now I can't see this part of the glider. I would actually have this kind of go here. Like, so we have this part of the glider and we have this part of the glider. We can't see it, so it kind of looks weird. So I'm just gonna add this part here. So the other side is like right there. Yeah. Other than that, that's pretty good. I know these pencil stuff here. You're just drawing loops like that, and that's okay because you're gonna be inking it different because you know what you're gonna be doing different. But when you're inking it, that looks pretty good. I want to draw these white lines. Like so much. Maybe if I was gonna add some lines there, I would add maybe smaller lines. Let me go in here. Look at the inking. Now let me finish critiquing the pencils first. I'm just too excited about the way you're drawing now. Okay, I like how you have these these textures over here. It shows that it's metal. These things that you're doing, it looks great. Okay, now since you're penciling, you don't have to worry about line thickness. Like these little bloops that you're doing here, they look really good. Okay, yeah, this is pretty. I've never actually seen Green Goblin or Hobgoblin with this thing on top, so that's pretty interesting. That's like a new take on it. Good job on the drawing. Yeah, this is a pretty good drawing. Very nice. Let me take a look at his face. Yeah, it's pretty good. So I'm gonna take a look at the inks now. Okay, look at the inks. So amazing. Okay, this looks very good. I'm looking at the anatomy, see if I can critique. So being an artist that I've been doing comics for so many years, and being an art instructor as well, I used to teach at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco. I can spot like things that are off like immediately. Like if something looks off, I could see it right away. The only thing that looks off in this whole image are these white lines over here, these white gel pen lines that are coming on top, and that's not really that big of a deal because that's just an effect. What I would do, Milt, is instead of having the long lines over here, I'm gonna use white and just add like shorter lines. Okay, so it doesn't take too much attention away from the details, like shorter lines over here. For the future, you don't have to change it now. Like in the future, just like lots of little short lines. Okay, not only do you do the short lines, I would also go in there and add some black on top, and then the thin lines coming out kind of on the outside over here. Okay, what is okay? I don't know what this section is. Is that a glow? Okay, I understand. Okay, so this section is kind of like almost like a halo around it. Okay, so if that's the case, here's this section that goes around here, and then this section goes around here. This section should actually go around like this. So that effect that you added here, this effect, I would actually continue that right around here, and then continue this to come from this little engine right over here. I'm just gonna use black so you can see what I'm talking about. So this part and then this part goes right over here, so it's consistent, because at first I didn't know why it just stopped on the knee over there, so it will look nicer over here. Okay, now the fun part. I'm going to look at some of your ink lines. Okay, I really like this squiggle over here. Okay, I'm going to grab red, and so we can see the areas that I marked. Okay, yeah, this is a well drawing here. So foreshortening is pretty good. If you wanted to, Milt, you can actually add another elbow over here. Okay, like maybe another part of the elbow here, just to show a little bit of the elbow. You don't really need to. Yeah, this is done well. I really like how you have these little thick lines out here, and then you have thicker lines going inside, and then you went to go in here and you went to do the crosshatch over here. This is done really well. These thick lines over here, that's done pretty good. Okay, looks like you're using microns. I think microns and brush and ink. Yeah, see, okay, these bloop lines are done nicely. I'm trying to find areas that are bad so I can critique you, so you can like learn from it, but everything looks pretty good. Okay, these bloop lines, how it's thick and then thin and thick and then thin, very nicely done. Okay, these areas, very nicely done. Yeah, you're paying attention to a lot of stuff that I'm telling you and all of some of my other art review and critiques. Okay, good. Try using, I know, okay, I spoke to Milt before. He doesn't really like using rulers or oval and templates. If you do have rulers and oval, you can make machinery so much better. But he's actually freehanding some of these lines and it's fairly straight. Okay, so sometimes if you want to freehand something and you don't have the right template, what I would do is I would do ghost lines and mimic that motion. Okay, so the faster you ink that line, the smoother it is. I'll look at where it starts, look at where it ends, and then focus on the line really quickly. So I would actually make that movement to see if I can draw that line like exactly where it is. If not, I can turn it, and then I can adjust it and then ink that line quickly. So a double line, one line here and two lines there to make it really quick. And then I would turn it this direction because I'm right-handed and my hand just moves better that way. So if I ink this line, it's not comfortable for me. I would actually go in there and rotate it with my left hand, and then I'll do ghost line to see if I can make it, and then I'll ink that line. See how nice, much quicker and smoother that line is? But so far the line is pretty good. I'm going to zoom back out and take another look at Milt's work. Yeah, Milt, this is pretty good. Okay, I like how you have some shadows over here, some shadows here. You can also add a little bit of thickness over here just to make it a little bit nicer. You know these thick lines that you're doing, Milt? And, you know, I know I'm making a video, but I feel like I'm talking to you directly. But I'm pretty excited the way, like, how much you've grown. This reminds me of Kevin Eastman, the way he draws Ninja Turtle badges. Like he'll do a lot of this stuff. So that's his style. These hatch lines, besides this one over here, everything is spaced nicely, which is good. You have some thick lines and then some thin lines over here. You have that glider line, that little thin line and thick line, so that's pretty good. Yeah, I like it. Oh yeah, okay, I see something that you can improve on. Like this line over here, the shadow, and you have these thick lines. I would actually go in here and kind of continue it and kind of get smaller here. Don't just stop in midair like that. Yeah, this is very nice. I'm gonna take a look at both the images that Milt did. Okay, so here is the Scarecrow right over here, and then here is the Green Goblin. Green Goblin looks very good. I think you can also make some of this a little bit thicker. Okay, just to make it more dynamic on the hood over here. Kind of make that fold over like that. So maybe like that. Okay, and then have some just so that it's not that plain on the hat up there. Just some texture over there. You have that texture. I hope you enjoyed this video of me doing an art review and critique for one of my patrons. My patron is Milt. Very nice work. Keep up the good work. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I'll be posting more art review and critiques in the future. So when I upload and you subscribe, hit that notification bell. So if I subscribe, you'll be one of the first to do it. And recently, I've been doing some live videos, so live feeds on YouTube. So if you're subscribed to my channel and you hit that notification button and I start doing a live feed, you'll be one of the first to get a notification in email, so you can join in on a live feed and I will answer your questions. So again, check out my Patreon. It's patreon.com/WaldenWongArt, and also check out my website. The website is waldenwongart.com. Over there you can see a lot of stuff, and on my Patreon there's a lot of different tiers that you can look at. I'll post all those links below this video description, so you can easily go there and check it out. So until then, keep on drawing. The more you draw, the better you get, just like Milt. And until next time, keep up the good work for all of you, and I hope you see you in a future video. Take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.